and Honorable Peter Imwatok, who are members of the County Assembly of Nairobi and also members of the Disaster Response Committee, gave us 200 liters of cooking oil, 470 kilograms of rice. The Honorable Senator Amida Kibwana gave us 400 kilograms of red beans and 200 kgs of sugar. Then we have Honorable Abbas Khalif, who is also an ODM elected MCA representing South Sea, gave us 1,400 bales of maize flour. Then we have the Honorable Senator Christola Sige, who gave us 25 kilograms of rice and 25 kilograms of beans. The Honorable Esther Pasaris, 300 foam mattresses and 20 pieces of sanitary towels. I think there were more than that. 20 packs, right?
6 months, yes.
Yes. Then the Honorable
48.
The Honorable Tim Wanyonyi, who has just joined us, gave us 50 bales of maize flour. The office of the party leader at Capitol Hill, those who work there, the staff of Raila Odinga at Capitol Hill gave us 3 bales of unga. The chairperson of this disaster response committee, Senator Eddie Okech, gave us Kenya shillings 300,000. And you will remember that the SG of the Red Cross told us that the highest priority in terms of the needs of the displaced persons was resources for them to be able to seek alternative shelter. Honorable Nasra also added us 80,000 in cash, 150 Kenya shillings in cash from Honorable Peter Imwatok. Honorable Mishi Mboko, MP, Kenya shillings 50,000. The Honorable Catherine Omanyo, the women rep for Busia, 250 kilograms of sugar, 100 kilograms of soap, 100 kilograms of cooking oil, 100 kilograms of maize flour, and 20 dozen toilet paper. The Nairobi County Assembly leadership, who are represented here by the majority leader and the majority whip, Honorable Ogeto, gave us 100 mattresses, 120 blankets, 300 kgs of sugar, and Honorable Maurice Ochieng, who is the chair of the Health Committee in the Nairobi County Assembly, is here, the MCA Mountain View. He has just brought us 10 bales of maize flour. The members of parliament from Nairobi, as we had announced earlier, including the Honorable Tim Wanyonyi, who's here, contributed 2.5 million shillings for the initial visit to both Embakasi South and to Mathare, and also the food that was sent to the MP for, is it Kamkunji? No. Starehe, yes. The MP for Starehe got one lorry of flour, Honorable Mwago. Then we have received a donation from Peter Wandera, who's here. He ran for MCA in Dagoretti South, and he has given us 3 bales of maize flour. Now, I want to say on behalf of the Central Committee of the party that as appreciation, we will be considering issuing certificates of appreciation. ODM always appreciates its members when they come out as strongly as they have. And in fact, in the history of this party, as far as I can remember, that certificate has only been issued once. And I will say it was issued to the Honorable Member of Parliament for Mathare. So all these people will be joining that very gracious list. And I want to take this opportunity to urge members of the party from across the country. This national office is a receiving center. So if you look at the names on this list, and I don't mean to beat our own trumpet as Nairobians, but you can see it is very heavy with contributions and donations from people in the party from Nairobi. So we want to be very clear that we have had a conversation with Honorable Raila Odinga, the party leader, and he wants these donations now to be mobilized at county branch level, that we will be ranking the counties regarding how much, depending on how much they have given us. As we have just read these names and the contributions out, Nairobi is by far the leading county in terms of donations to this very wonderful cause, followed by Migori and Mombasa County, where Mishimboko comes from. So we want to urge the other counties that now this food distribution or food donations will be mobilized through the ODM county offices. And we want to see convoys being flagged off from all these other counties. We want to see a convoy from Homa Bay, a convoy from Kilifi, another one from Kakamega. This headquarters is a receiving center and a distribution center. So we will be letting you know how that goes. But so far we are very grateful for everyone who has donated towards this very noble cause. At this particular juncture, allow me to welcome the chairperson of the Disaster Response Committee, who is also going to touch on the next steps in terms of the distribution network. And then you will be welcome to see the donations you have received. We are very open and transparent. We have encouraged in-kind donations, and that is why you will see our stores continue to be full with some of these items that we have read out here. Honorable Okech, you can now take over. Thank you.
Thank you, SG, for that good recap of everything that we have done so far. I think that mine first and foremost would be to say thank you to number one, the committee for the commitment that they continue to show, as well as the Kenya Red Cross for the partnership that we have continued to have in terms of just handling this logistics. SG, you'll realize that the hardest part of this work is not actually to receive the donations, because that is an easy part. We have had amazing ODM members in terms of youth and women who have actually been able to volunteer in this center to be able to help us receive and pack and package all the donations that we'll be able to receive. And I also want to thank them so much. The gentlemen you are seeing here, the young people you are seeing here, the women you are seeing here have been helping us in terms of managing our stores here. But the hardest part has been logistical challenges to go to the grassroots. And that's where Kenya Red Cross has really been able to help us, as well as the committee, to be able to figure out that. And one of the reasons why we are devolving the reception of different donations to different offices in the grassroots, the ODM offices in the grassroots, is because we are realizing that our stores are actually small, and we cannot be able to sustain holding food here for long, and also just holding other donations alongside. To look at things like blankets, which we have started receiving very many blankets right now, especially from Team Nairobi. I want to thank them so much. And also just anything that can be able to help people with shelter. This is our biggest appeal right now, that as we go to the second phase of distribution, people might be able to respond with more of non-food items that are going towards helping with shelter. And for the next 1 week, we are focusing mostly into the western region. We have very major requests from Nakuru, and we are looking at the logistics of going to Nakuru and looking at being able to respond to our people in Nakuru. But then we also have a solid focus on Teso that we are looking at going to as the next destination of distribution. Then we are going to Budalangi, and then we'll finish with Nyando. And that is because one of the MPs of Nyando won't be there in the weekend when we are trying to look at the areas to go to. But then from next week, we'll be going to Nyando. So those are the 4 destination areas that we are going to look at in the next distribution. But as I said, we welcome people to bring anything that they can be able to bring here. But we have also officially devolved the reception of these donations and any kind of intervention materials to our ODM county offices. And those county offices, we are charging, especially where our governors are, we are charging our governors and the chairs of our party, ODM, in those regions to take charge. Our committee will be coordinating with them. But for those counties that we don't have our governors, the point persons there become our chairperson of the county. So it's not in the constituencies, but it is in the counties, and we'll be coordinating with them.
Thank you.
I thank you so much. Yeah. Unless there's any question.
Okay.
Yeah.
The most affected by the flood. Number one, I asked how you as an oversight leader here are working to maybe curtail such future events from happening here in Nairobi. And number two, maybe your opinion regarding the ongoing the demolition in Nairobi, especially the riparian land that has been intercepted by the government.
By the way, before the SG comes in, it is important that we put it out there that our impact so far has been to 6,000 families. I think that is very important because we have done Nairobi and we have done Mavoko as well. And the distribution that we have had so far is up to 6,000 people. But I'll let SG respond to the question that has been asked.
Okay, thank you very much. The first question is how we prevent this from happening in future. We want to say that nothing beats preparedness. We must be prepared for these things because you can see even the forecast is that these rains will continue. And because of changing climatic patterns, we expect that the weather events that used to be extreme, that were stretched out, maybe would happen once in 20, 50 years, are now happening with greater regularity. So as the management of a city, and not just Nairobi, all across the country, there has to be now factored in the fact of climate change and unusual weather patterns and unusual rains so that you prepare the people for such events. Number two, in terms of settlements along the riparian areas, the people of Nairobi are very cooperative. In fact, nobody wants to stay in the way or in a place that is dangerous to them. They are pushed mostly by the poverty levels and the economic situation that our people find themselves in. So there has been great cooperation. Initially, we were told that the riparian area would be cleared up to 15 meters of the high water line. But unfortunately, we have seen demolitions that are being carried out up to 30, 35 meters from the high water line. So what is happening is that there are some crooked elements within Nairobi and within the state that have taken advantage of this disaster to now settle scores. I've seen people demolishing schools that are nowhere near riparian areas. So we want the government, first of all, to tell us with certainty what is the distance that Nairobians must keep from the high water line. Is it 15? Is it 30? Is it 35? So that people do not, or crooked elements do not take advantage of that. And we want to condemn in the strongest terms possible all of those who are taking advantage of this to essentially perpetuate a land grab in Nairobi. And because riparian areas are under the management of the county government, these are answers we will be demanding from Sakaja himself. So as your senator, that is exactly what I'm going to do. Immediately he's back from the US. I know he's in the US with the president. After he has visited Atlanta and the other nice places, we want him to come back to Mathare and tell us where the riparian lands are. Sawa sawa. Swali ingine?
And I think I wanted to emphasize also that as a party in this intervention, we seriously hold the view that protecting riparian land cannot overshadow the idea of survival for those people who are there. If we are going to do demolitions, we hold the view that at least the government must clearly be able to develop alternative temporary shelter for those people who are affected, so that before you actually demolish, you can be able to, first of all, be able to accommodate them in a temporary structure. And even if there is cash for shelter, the way the government had said, let it be realistic, because even the 10,000 that is being said is not sufficient. And this is not according to us. This is according to experts, including Red Cross, that have actually diagnosed this problem and said that it's not sufficient to give families that are staying in Nairobi 10,000. We need to give them, actually, at the very least, 20,000 and above. So the alternative shelter is what we are advocating for before you actually be able to demolish anything.
Yeah, I think one of the last things to say about that is that you can see here the leadership of Nairobi. You can see MCAs drawn from various constituencies, wards. The member of parliament is from Westlands is here. We can confirm that up to today, the 10,000 shillings that was promised by William Ruto has not arrived for our people. I think it was part of the money that was used to hire that private jet to go to the US. Any other question? Yes, Sydney.
Now that you mentioned that private jet.
No. Can you focus now?
On food, focus on food.
Yeah, the focus is there. Do you believe that some of the contingency team that has gone there, that money could be used?
Sydney, I want you to focus on the work that brought us here. Is there any other question other than Sydney's question on?
Another question.
Yes.
This is not to water down the noble cause that ODM is doing to the flood victims, but this is in regard to issues of
About?
Resources, the sharing of revenue. There has been a new glamour for a one man, one vote, one shilling. So I don't know if it's something that
one you ask Gachagua. Don't ask us.
What do you make of such?
What I know as a senator is that counties continue to suffer. And in fact, some of the criticism that has been directed to counties in their response is that the law requires them to set aside 2%. Cannot be compared to the national government, just like you cannot compare the equitable shares of the national and the county governments. The responsibility is greater on the person with greater resources. So our expectation is the national government. Would you believe it? I was seeing reports that there are people still who are have not been helped in any way in the disaster in Mai Mai. Up to today, even after the president himself visited there, even after the deputy president went there with that formula you were telling us about, nothing has happened. So we want to urge national government, first of all, come through on the promises you made publicly. Again, even when it came to compensation of the Mradi fire disaster victims, the money that Gachagua promised has never gotten to Mradi people. So we want to say that you cannot be dishonest even when it comes to disaster. You have to be at some point, surely, feel some humanity and say, we are liars, yes, but when it comes to helping people, we are going to be truthful men. I thank you. Asante sana.
We have got some donations you can take there that have got us.
Watapiga.
Yeah.
Tumemaliza maswali, si ndio? Asanteni sana. Sasa hii imeingia ni ya Imwatok.
Yes.
Majority leader. Asante sana. Thank you very much.
Si nimekwambia hiyo iko sawa. Sawa kabisa. Flat ya Karanda Soweto.
Huyo ongea na huyo.
Kanaanza kutoka wa stores. Kanaanza stores.
Ndiye kama huyu ilikuwa Jakaranda Soweto. Kama najima andamana sana. Ndio hinyore.